Hey everybody, Dr. Lozman here, and I have a kind of a difficult topic to discuss today. It's not my favorite topic. Really don't like talking about this much, and when it comes up, it's usually as a last-ditch effort, a worst-case scenario. But today we're going to talk about something called the structured separation. What is a structured separation? A structured separation is it's a separation that is structured. I have found that sometimes when the communication breaks down in a relationship, when they're just deadlocked, gridlocked, no one's moving, there's constant tension, it is unhealthy to be in that situation. And the longer you're in it, it's not like the communication is going to magically improve. Actually, a lot of the times communication is going to get worse. In some rare instances, I've even seen where there's threats of calling the police and other extreme forms of threats of violence. And it's not healthy to be in that environment. Not for you, not for somebody else, not for the kids. It's time to consider a separation. I don't like it, but it's the better option oftentimes than, say, divorce or, say, just keeping things as is. What is the point of a separation? The point is to sober up. The point is you're drunk, go home. The point is you're not seeing clearly. Literally, you're in this pile of stress. Just the very face of your partner might even irritate you or cause some sort of emotional disturbance, and you need some space. You need some space to get away from the person, to clearly think, to ask horrible, difficult questions like, do I even miss this person? Is this even going to work out? Are we just pretending? What is going on here? And you literally need a separation from that situation in order to even think clearly. Literally, and this is what the research even shows, especially the trauma literature, your brain's shutting down. If you're in a consistently stressful environment, your brain isn't even functioning clearly. Go on a weekend trip. Go spend even a weekend with your brother, with your sister, with your parents. Go spend some time with some friends. It's cool. Nothing bad's going to happen. Your family's probably going to be there when you get back. But geez, get some space from each other so you can think clearly. I often see the structured separation as one among many options. Sometimes it is the best option. I mean, what are you going to do? Number one, you could do nothing. Just keep everything as is. If it hasn't been working, it's probably not going to. Number two, you could just do a regular old separation. I think we know from the Friends show how that worked out. It doesn't. People start cheating. The rules are unclear. They have horrible conversations. It often can cause more harm than good. And I think people are often worried about that when you even broach the topic of a separation. And, of course, you could get divorced too. That tends to be final. Very, very, very few people come back from divorce. I have to find structure of the separation to be the best option, the most mature, the most guided, the most wise of options in this circumstance. And typically, it's initiated by one person. I hate to say it that way. If you're communicating well enough to go, oh, I think we both need a separation. Good, you're still communicating. It's often initiated by one person, which means they're often the person who has to leave. And it's not like the other person's, shall we say, lack of participation means, oh, I guess we can't separate. Oftentimes, one person has to take that leap of faith. They got to take that first step in setting the structure and making things better through separation. Well, let's go through this, right? Structured separation means, and there's four things, right? There's four rules for a structured separation. The first thing is going to be that you're not dating anybody else, and you're not contacting a divorce lawyer. This is stated explicitly up front. I hate that we have to say this, but we have to say this. You make it explicit because otherwise you just leave it to chance. I've seen so many potentially good marriages be disrupted because somebody contacted a divorce lawyer, somebody started dating just to sort of sow their oats and try their options, and then they come back and try to resolve the issues in the marriage, and they're worse off than they even started. So I say, if you want to do this in good faith, don't date. Don't take this as an opportunity to get some emotional connection. And don't exercise your options and use this time as a form of research. Second thing, I always ask people to attend weekly counseling and really work on their relationship and personal issues. In addition, I want people to meet. I want them to do a check-in. This can be by phone. This can be in a restaurant, usually not in person. This isn't always a date night. Can be if appropriate, but this is just a check-in. We still got to run a family here. We still need to work on some business, and we still need to maintain some of that connection. Maybe try to figure out why we should miss each other in the first place and whether or not we actually do. Third thing, we got to maintain those household responsibilities. Just because we're going through a mess and we're deciding to separate for a little bit doesn't mean the entire house should fall apart. No, we got to figure out where the kids are going. We got to figure out how we're maintaining those household bills, the utility bills, the rent, You have to work out the finances, maybe have to do a budget. You know, there's a lot of things that need to keep moving here. The separation shouldn't be something that puts a giant burden on the family just to have happen, or it's not going to be effective, right? And the number 4 thing, you should agree to a length of time. Now this could be anywhere from about a month to about maybe 6 months, depending on, do you have any family or friends that can take somebody in? Are we going to get a short-term lease or maybe a long-term Airbnb? Whatever it is, we should agree on a time length. The second part of this, we shouldn't have sleepovers. If we're going to do a separation, we need to do a separation. It's not going to feel like a separation, and you're not going to get any of the benefits if you're having sleepovers. You know, somebody's over at the house all the time. You're kind of like, now you're just half married. You're not getting that emotional distance from each other. And I know that's difficult, but the point is to sober up. This is a you're drunk, go home. Maybe stop drinking for a little while. And then if you want to re-engage, maybe do it after thinking about it for quite some time, so that you're re-engaging purposefully and not just, oh, I'm lonely, so let me go hang out with this person. That's not what we're talking about here. If you're going to be married for what, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, what's a month or 2 or 3 or 6? Especially when you have the chance to set things right, and maybe they'll be right from then on out. You have that chance. One person should move out. I know this is harsh. It's kind of unfair. Somebody's going to have to decide to move out. I've seen situations where they just change the house environment, so one person's upstairs, one person's downstairs. It doesn't usually work that way. I've seen situations where they take turns. Somebody's in the house one week, and then the other person's in the house the following week. That can work. It just takes some communication, right? But somebody's got to move out. And lastly, you should have what's called a DTR. This is kind of a kid term, but it just means defining the relationship. Have one of those talks every single month, and do not have those talks any other times than that one time a month. And this DTR, what it is it's a, hey, how has this month been for you? What's the status of the relationship? What are all the things we need to work on? And most importantly, are we going to stay separated? Are we going to get divorced? Or is it time to get back together? Are we willing and ready to take that next step back into moving together and working on this? Well, I know this is a difficult topic and probably a little bit contentious. Anytime I bring it up, people get a little nervous, and it's usually the person who doesn't want to separate. But I'm here to tell you, I think people used to do this all the time. I think people used to take breaks. I think people used to get a little distance, spend some time with the family, and it was fine. And I think it really helped preserve something that was good and get enough perspective to make something good and maybe even great. I'm the Thoughtful Husband, and I hope I've been helpful for you today. Let me know how you think it is. Let me know if you think this is just total crap, or maybe this is for you sometime. I hope it's not. I hope your marriage, your relationships go well. I hope that communication stays. I hope that you guys can work things out. You can go to counseling, you can read books, and you can work it out. This is a tool for if that breaks down, because if you're going to get divorced, this is either going to help you not get divorced, or it's one of the smoothest transitions into divorce. And you can do it the healthiest way possible if you have to do it. So, love you guys. Take care.